Stephen Donald had the ultimate rugby redemption. From All Blacks outcast to World Cup winner. He kicked that famous goal at Eden Park and they even made a movie about it. He's also one of rugby's great characters and is now a radio host and drinks company owner. So join us with Beaver on It's Not Tiddlywinks. Welcome back to another episode of It's Not Tiddlywinks. I'm Pomre. I won the opportunity to do this from a Weet-Bix packet here with John Afoa and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Stephen Donald. Well, let's start at the very start, Beaver. Wesley College.
I thought you were going to say I was born.
Oh, no, maybe not.
No.
One before. We'll go Waiku.
Will we?
We'll go Waiku because that's where you had a good 6 of your years, you know, high schooling and education-wise.
You only go to high school for 5.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, not in Auckland because you go second year, 7th.
If you're good at rugby, yeah, you end up going.
You go 6.
It's the 4 years I went to Waikato College and ended up at Wesley. The year before, we'd played their second 15 and it ended up in an all-in and I was on the bottom of it. So it was quite a nervous first day when I went to school. But luckily, I had a couple of mates there from the county schools. Sitivini Silvadu was there at the time and Big Tomasi Singeta. And so I just sort of got brought into the Fijian tribe, and I was safe. But no, it was the best year I could imagine having. The boys weren't big on their going to classes, so I pretty much was in the classes by myself. So that made mum and dad happy because I ended up getting my bursary. But no, it was an awesome time. I ate more KFC that year than I ever have in my entire life. I was the day boy, so I had the car. And so I'd get tapped on the shoulder as I was walking to the food hall most lunchtimes and said, we're not going there, we're going into Pukekohe. So I'd drive Sitivini and Tomasi and whatever other Fijian had the money sent in that day. So that was my diet for a whole year of 7th form at Wesley. But rugby-wise, it was awesome and we did real well. We won the Nationals, played for the Steelers from there. So, no, it was a pretty special time for me.
Great Steelers debut, wasn't it? That game against Auckland, just to finish off the year.
What happened?
Well, we've shared the story a few times.
Really?
But, I was up in the terrace, and then during the week, I noticed that Beaver had made the team. So I was like, oh, here we go. Cheer on me, old mate. Beaver gets subbed on for the last, I don't know, 5, 10?
At 15.
Oh, 15 to go. So I was like...
At 15.
At 15.
Yeah.
No, I mean, time left in the game.
Left, about 10 or 15.
Yeah, there's nothing left. The game's done anyway. But they're like, oh, we'll lock this kid in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he runs on, shorts maybe 5 size too big, socks down underneath his sprigs somehow. And so I'm cheering him on. Auckland make a break. The elusive Doug Howlett.
Oh, yeah.
It's one-on-one with the Beef.
I'm 17.
Yeah,
remember.
right, okay.
So
yeah,
he's a superstar already.
Yeah.
Yeah, the locks are flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Doug Howlett, one-on-one with the Beef. No one knows who he is.
And they didn't after either.
It's just a 1-2 step on the outside, Beef stuck in the mud. I don't know if he dived or not, or did you just do the run of shame and try and chase him in?
I don't know. All I could remember from that is, yes, Dougie Howlett making me look silly, but also some big kid in the terraces heckling me.
Yeah.
And it was none other than Johnny, of course.
Well, having a dig. Sad to your mate.
No, it was a great year for you, though.
Apart from that, I'm glad we brought up that part. That was a real highlight.
Well, I've just had written down here, I'm going to look to the notes here that have been made for me. Professional, very professional. Well, let's go back to Civvy. So, was Civvy carving up in that year with Wesley as much as he did with the Chiefs?
Nah, so City did nothing all year. And then we played, and because we were going well, so every sort of day you'd go to school and someone else would be getting, got an academy contract here, got an academy contract here. City was getting nothing. And then we played the top 32 final at North Harbour Stadium. We played Rotorua, who had Liam Messam in it, and a few others, Wakasaduadua and the likes. And City went out and scored 4 tries, wearing headgear. And just absolutely killed it. The next day, I think he had every province and Super Rugby team in the country, every NRL team with a contract in front of them.
Classic.
Yeah, so he was just... Because he was on a soccer scholarship at Wesley. So he wasn't actually supposed to be playing rugby.
Really?
Yeah.
From Fiji?
From Fiji.
That's how they get the other rugby boys in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so many scholarships for rugby.
Was he good at soccer?
Yeah, very good.
Shit.
Yeah, very good kicker.
Right.
Yeah. So
We love the chip and chase, but yeah.
Yeah, very talented.
And apparently you're pretty talented. Tennis, I understand. What stopped you there, going pro in the tennis world?
What stopped me going pro? A backhand.
Maybe a lack of tennis courts at Wesley College.
Yeah, there wasn't much. There wasn't much. I'd given up the dream by the time I got to Wesley. So the lack of a backhand. I don't think my temperament was made for tennis either. Consistency. Like I had a big forehand and big serve, but 1 out of 5 isn't going to take you to Wimbledon. Right. So I was, unlike a lot of New Zealand tennis kids who all have dreams and aspirations, at the age of 10, I was like quite matter of fact about it. I was like, well, how many professional tennis players from New Zealand are there? 0.
Yeah.
Brett Stephen, I think, was just finishing up, and I wasn't the best in New Zealand, so I was like, I'm not going to go. You're kidding yourself if you're going pro.
Pragmatic 10-year-old.
You gotta join the dots. I had more chance of being an All Black, even though I couldn't even make County's golf field at the time. So I thought
all roads led to the steel mill anyway.
Yeah,
isn't
all
it?
roads. Yeah, the steel mill looked at me every day. That's where I was going to end up.
Still could.
Probably will. There's every chance. If this delivery van driving business doesn't work out.
I understand you dressed up in military gear in Pretoria before the Super Rugby final in 2010. And you hijacked, Ian Foster's press conference. Whose idea was this? What happened here?
Yeah, so Johnny will remember, anyone that's gone to Pretoria and played rugby at that time, there was no real days off. There was nothing organised. And Pretoria, and I've got friends from Pretoria, but they wouldn't mind me saying it is one of the worst places on earth. And so we flew in there. We flew in there on about the Tuesday for the final because we had to wait to find out where the final was going to be. And it was a Sunday morning. So we got in there Tuesday. We trained once on the Thursday. My best mate was my roommate in Kahui. And Kahui's a showman. And we filled in our week because, as Johnny will know, Cuban, who every professional rugby player in New Zealand knows, the security guard that always looked after us when we went to South Africa, Cuban had contacts with Pretoria Police. So one day he goes, oh, boys, what do you want to do today? And we're like, oh, whatever. And he goes, well, do you guys want to go to the old military shop? And we're like, bloody oath. So we went to the old military shop where we could buy literally Pretoria seconds from the police outfit, the army stuff. So about 5 of us went, and me and Cucks went and just picked off everything off the thing. And he bought full gas mask and vests and there were overalls. And I bought like the corporal one with the hat and Cuban went and got some pins off that I put on. And I had the full SWAT jacket with all the holes for my grenades and stuff. And then we're sitting at it, and none of us are great sleepers. So Cucks one morning says, we should get in these. I'm like, oh yeah, what are we going to do? And he goes, Fozzie's press conference. So about 40 press were coming in to the hotel that day. And we were obviously bored, and as I say, it's a decision I regret, but it was...
Why?
Did you see the scoreline? So we went in, and just before it, Cuban crosses our paths in the reception. And he knew it was us. He goes, what are you boys doing? And he said, oh, don't tell anyone, but we're going to hijack the press conference. He goes, go sit over there right now. So we had to go sit over there. He had to go tell all the hotel security because he reckons we would have been shot dead. So he went and told them, and I mean, at half time, I probably wish I had been of that final. But he went and told all of them, and they obviously didn't tell Fozzie, and I think Mills might have been at the table too. And then I just followed Cux's lead, and we went in there, and everyone that didn't know was buying it. And then I had some sort of mask on too, and then I was like halfway through, I crumbled. It's us. So, yeah.
Surely as soon as you took that first step in the press conference, you must have been like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
And Fozzie's not exactly a funny man either.
No.
Neither of the South African media.
No, I remember Fozzie goes, like he literally went, yes, my boys are quite relaxed. And he just looked disapproving. I'd seen that disapproving look many times from Fozzie, so it was nothing new.
Everyone knows the white baiting story. Yeah, once you got into All Blacks camp, what was the week of the final like for you?
To be honest with you, it was one of the more relaxed weeks of my life, and they're like sort of usually when you're in the All Black camp. Well, certainly for me, certainly the heritage building that we used to always stay at, the timber floors and the hallways. I know I'd go back there now and I'd still get a shudder thinking I'm supposed to be in a meeting with Ted or something, or be somewhere, you know. And it was usually quite a stressful situation. But by the time I got there, A, I thought it wasn't going to happen. B, I'd sort of come to terms with the fact that the All Black days were over. Then when I got called in, I was like, it is what it is. Never anticipated getting any field time. Again, another stupid thing that me and Cucks had agreed to do was we used to go down to Mission Bay during the week, and I'd say Johnny would have probably come 2 times and go and have ice creams at 9 o'clock at night during that week. And I remember telling him, me and Cucks had a conversation. I said, mate, I've got a feeling, you know, Ted hasn't forgiven me for Hong Kong. So my gut tells me he's not going to put me on even if we're up by 50. And because everyone thought we were going to win the final by 50 anyway. So I said, mate, you are going to pull a hamstring and get me on the field, because the last thing I want to be is that cat question on a bottle top, which All Black didn't get on in the 2-11 final.
Ben Franks, I got it.
Did Franksy?
No, he didn't get on.
Oh, stink.
Well, he should have had a friend like me, because me and Cuck shook on it, and that was going to happen. So I never thought of getting on the field. So I was very relaxed.
Yeah.
So and that's probably played into my hands a bit.
Shows when you kick that ball.
Didn't think I was going to be playing rugby.
Barely made it over.
Johnny.
You know what I mean? I don't know what it was like.
Dead straight, mate. What are you talking about?
As straight as his knees.
Come on,
you know what I mean?
Look, there's a lot of better cold kickers than me complaining about the quality of balls during that World Cup. You know, I think Johnny Wilkinson was moaning that they were doing all sorts of funny things. So if he's saying it,
true.
who am I to judge?
You're the right man for the ball.
Who am I to say it didn't go true, Johnny?
Yeah, true. Yeah. Apart from the movie and celebrity, what sort of doors has... Oh, geez, I've been sitting here with chips on my shirt the whole time. You've pointed it out, you piece of shit. Yeah.
Chip and dip.
Right on your...
that packet up there. There was a packet up there before.
Right on the man boob.
Mate, the whole thing, right on the man boob. It's been on the mic the whole time. Oh, I've gone bright red now too. Well, this will be good.
Redder.
It's redder. You bastards. What doors did the World Cup open for you, do you reckon? Like outside of, the fame and celebrity, the movie?
Well, for starters, I wouldn't be on this podcast, would I?
I reckon you would.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Waikato through that mid-2000s, early 2010s.
You wouldn't have been able to justify me as early on in the podcasting numbers, I wouldn't have thought.
We got invited to that awards dinner. Laureus Awards.
We did.
And we would never be invited to anything. We're all like bottom feeders.
So me and Johnny were the only All Blacks playing from that World Cup in the UK. Right. And me and Johnny both were obviously always in comms and Rover, and we go, oh, we're both invited. We're like, oh, it's sweet. We haven't seen each other for a while. Looking forward to it. And we obviously worked out pretty quickly that if we were winning it, it would have been Richie and Ted there. But obviously, they send the boy from Papakura and the boy from Waiuki. We ain't winning it. So we, for a couple of days, made absolute pigs ourselves. Obviously represented
what's the awards night? Just
Laureus?
The Laureus.
The world Laureus.
The big one.
The big one,
So your Djokovic's and all the Serenas of the world were all there.
We got on Friday night.
We went big Friday night.
Tried to
got on well with Lennox Lewis, didn't we?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He was a big human. Biggest human I've ever met.
6'8" or something?
Huge man.
6'7".
Johnny said, lucky against Tua.
To his face?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was good fun. So that was probably one, wasn't it, Johnny? That was
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. Johnny was obviously
Tony Hawk was there.
Big skateboarder.
Did you show him your kickflip?
I was, used to go to Manukau City on a Thursday night, out the back with all the lads.
Yeah. But the one we locked it down with in the corner for ages, and I always get it confused. It's the least famous Wilson. Is it Luke or... So it was Luke
Wilson.
from Old School.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we obviously, at the time, like massive Old School movie fans, and we just locked it down with him in a corner.
Sick. What was he there for?
He's did an award, didn't he?
He just like handed it out.
Something out.
And it was in London?
Yes.
Wow.
Obviously, all the big guns was sponsored by Mercedes. So all these like cars were picking everyone up. All the like bottom people were on the bus.
Right.
So me and Beaver on the bus for these other randoms.
Lennox was on the bus.
No.
Yes, he was. When we went to Dowling Street.
But Djokovic, they ran out of cars. So he was like the last one to come out with his partner.
Yes.
Red carpet, cameras, no car. sorry, lad, you're on the bus.
You're on the bus with the boys.
Well, he hadn't won like all of his majors by then. So.
No, he was still starting out.
Yeah.
You know, I was too intimidated to go talk to Bear Grylls. He was about the one we didn't talk to, and I
spoke to Luke Wilson, but you're too scared of.
No, Luke's a great fella.
I think we caught him at the end, didn't we?
We might have actually after.
Problem is, you know, technology wasn't quite there, so
Nah.
that was like the little flip phones trying to take photos of
Stand
people.
closer, yeah.
I've got a photo of me, Johnny, and Luke, and Tony Hawk.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a Bear Grylls impression at all?
No, to be fair, at the time, there was a lot of conjecture around Bear Grylls. Because you know how all these former SAS people were coming out and saying, I was in the SAS at this alleged same time as Bear Grylls. He was never there.
Yeah, and saying like we don't.
So we were sitting back going, maybe he's not the real deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then true. You went to
a lot of conjecture at the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Smoke and mirrors around.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
Worst part about the dinner,
was that?
last part, obviously, I didn't realise it was going to be so formal.
Yeah, right.
So we were like, hoovered it. Prees. So we're like on the Prees bar, boom, 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 drinking. Get to the awards thinking like, oh, where's the drink? 3 hours of nothing.
Oh,
and we're
no.
just there
So you're basically
parching
hungover.
up, like drying up.
In like a movie cinema.
Yeah, so you couldn't get up, but we're just like, sitting there like, whoa,
Oh my gosh.
just a slow death.
I had
What
to. I was playing at Bath at the time, and I had to. They said, "Yep, you can go, but you got to be at training on must have been Tuesday morning or whatever." We'd had a decent go, and I slept for all my alarms. Woke up at about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, an hour after. I was supposed to be down 2 hours down the road. Luckily, there was this massive train issue, and I rang up Ian McGeek and I said, "Geech, train issue." He goes, "No. Saw it on the news this morning, Beef. No problem. You just get back to Bath when you can." Right.
Was he a chill coach overall? Was he a hard campaigner?
No,
McGeechan?
a bit of a, I guess, illusion. I guess the word. Like he didn't coach.
Ah.
He was, and I didn't know what a director of rugby. Like I signed there very much because I was like, he was about the only Northern Hemisphere coach I'd ever heard of. Geech. Because of all the Lions, the famous stuff with the Lions. I was like, oh, yeah, Geech, I'll sign there. And he he met me in South Africa one year to try and sign me up. And so signed it up, got up there. I was like, oh, when does Geech coach us? And I was like, no, he just walks around and watches things and then names the team. Names the team on Thursday and that's his gig.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't, like lovely fella.
Yeah.
Great fella. But,
Didn't have much to do with him.
Nah.
True. Dame Patsy Reddy called you the Badger. There's a bit of a stuff up from her. Did you get a formal apology?
Well, I didn't get an apology from like her office or anything like I'd expect from a Dame.
Yeah.
But no, I actually got it from Dame herself, Dame Patsy herself.
Like a
What happened?
written letter?
Yeah. Well, how did she pass it off?
There's obviously levels of All Blacks, and so I was doing a function with Richie and Mills at the World Cup there in France. We were unveiling one of the seats that they were dropping off all around the places that had helped out the All Blacks. And Dame Patsy was doing this wonderful introduction. Thank you to our legendary captain, Richie McCaw. Yes. Thank you to Mills Molina, 100 Test All Black. Yes. Oh, and who can forget, thank you to Badger. And just straight.
Was this last year?
Yeah, just at the World Cup in France.
Man.
People clap?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the ones that
You didn't try to rip the mic off or go, it's Beaver.
The ones that couldn't understand English just clapped. And then obviously all the New Zealanders in the crowd were wetting themselves. The best thing about it, though, is the ones that were there, I think there was about another 2 weeks to go in the World Cup and stayed up there and was doing stuff with the crew there. And Badger stuck.
So you became Badger
I
all
became
last year.
Badger for the rest of the World Cup there. It's fantastic. Badger, you need a ticket. Badger, you come
Badger's
into
not
the
Bit of a break from Beaver.
A bit of a break,
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Badger's got a better ring to it. It seems
Badger's-
more stronger.
And I
Badger.
think Badger's a bit French too.
Yeah.
Badger.
I think they've got
Is it
Badger.
classing it up a little, you think?
Obviously, we talked about our old mate, City, and his sort of prep for games. And obviously, Blues man, Chiefs man, or Blues Crusader.
One title.
One game.
One's enough. Obviously, a lot of brothers around, and some of their, pre-game stuff is a bit, like you said, the KFC.
Yes.
It sort of just rolled on into the pro scene, isn't it? Like going down the hotel, you just get that waff fried chicken. Yeah, like one of the boys was having a good old feed. Like even though we had a full buffet for dinner,
Yes.
they're still hungry 2 hours later. What's the Chiefs boys like that or what?
Oh, I mean, we're pretty good leading into games. We did have Sidovini, and like, hands down, if people say, who's the best rugby player you ever played with? Like, obviously, you've got your greats, but hands down, Sidovini. Like, just on pure ability, when he turned the switch, like, there was nothing on this planet that could stop him. He was just ridiculous. I mean, but City wasn't the greatest professional. It must be said. And a lot of it was built around deep fried chicken, and he had a lot of that. And he also had a habit which is not good for him, wasn't healthy, but he did enjoy, I guess, a dart. And Johnny would have been there. One of the funniest ones is we were in Wellington for a test week, and we used to always play Wellington. Like, obviously, Wellington has an indifferent weather system there, but we would always play a test match there when it was at its worst. And I remember, it must have been a Thursday morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. We're in the hotel there, Intercontinental, every alarm in the house going. We all scurry down to out the front of the hotel, pitch black, Wellington in the middle of July, August, freezing. We're missing one, and like a few jokes and whispers are starting to work out who it would have been. Well, we know who's not here. So City had gone into a hallway and thought that there was no smoke detectors there, and so he just cleared the hotel because he was just having his midnight durry. He would have been one of the best.
What about his threat of like retiring every year? Like, he'll play like an absolute blinder, and you'll turn up at breakfast, and he's like, "Oh, bro, I can't be." You'd be like, "I don't want to play."
Beaver, no, I'm sick of this. No,
Drama
Beaver,
queen.
I'm done, Beaver. I might go to France, maybe.
Just every week, just threatening to retire.
After a great performance.
Oh, just the greatest character you could come across. But yeah, he always owed me because I was always his taxi driver in Wesley. Because obviously every day it was KFC, so we had a great connection. I lived with him for 2 years when I first went to Hamilton. He went down with the Chiefs straight away, then I shifted down. And like, obviously, Hamilton's hasn't got the worst winter in New Zealand, but City, it really took its toll on City. So I signed for Waikato for about $7,000, and that was my entire year. And I had no Chiefs contract, so that was my total income for the year. And City was fully fledged professional Chiefs by this stage, and we had about a 3-bedroom house. Even the rooms that we didn't sleep in, he had heaters going in them. And so I remember when Waikato bought the first power bill, it was over $2,500. and they gave it to me, and I was like, "You realise?" Waikato gave it to me. I said, "Well, you know how much I'm on
yeah.
before tax.
Yeah.
I'm not looking after this." So somehow that disappeared. But yeah, he was one of the great characters. Wasn't one of the greatest trainers. Never would have tested well in speed lights, but like would have never been caught.
Yeah. Was it was it the first 40, or did he pull away? Like, what was the?
He always just ran fast enough.
Yeah.
Just fast enough.
Yeah.
Just enough.
Just
City.
enough.
Yeah. Classic. Nah, one of the greats.
What about your other? Well, you mentioned him, Kakas, Kahui, Richard.
Yes.
Should we dive into him a little bit?
This is an R18 show.
Oh, earmuffs for Ra. Sorry. And that's from old school as well. I've made an old school reference.
Earmuffs. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We'll tell our mate next time.
Yeah, you guys give him
He was always a
more
good laugh,
FaceTime.
like a baby face, but he had some skills on him too.
Yeah, it was a shame of his shoulders and stuff, like, could cut people in half. But yeah, he was great to have around, like, because I obviously left and the Chiefs went and won 2 titles.
Nice.
And like, he claims to be this 2-time Chiefs champ, 2 times. I'm like, mate, you weren't on the final. You didn't play the final. You were injured for 2 years. How can you claim it?
True.
I mean, like, he had 10 years up in Japan, which remarkable considering how bung his shoulders were. But no, like, we lived together for years. As I said, there's not a whole lot I can tell you about him because this is a family show.
Yeah.
But like, he was there through thick and thin, and yeah, appreciate him, but would never tell it to his face because very confident young man. A very confident old man now.
Yeah.
What about Japan? Obviously, he did 10 years. You did a little stint. You did a little innings.
On and off 7.
Yeah.
The rugby was cool because you were literally playing with all the factory workers. So we would go and train at, say, my first club, Mitsubishi, would train 5 o'clock in the morning, do our weights, we would hightail it home, lunch, blah, 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 come back and the boys have done their day's work and then you meet them for afternoon training. And like I went there after England and I was sick of rugby after my time in England, to be fair. But when I got to Japan, I got a love of it back because they just play for the sake of it and they just love it. I think there's about 5 or 6 annual parties, one for the over 30s, one for your corner of the changing room, one for your position group.
Sick.
It was so good. It was just such a good time and like now obviously it's pretty serious over there with all the New Zealand coaches and that, but I went to a club, second division club, and it was my first place because another good mate of ours, Anthony Borich, he rang me and said, I'm going to sign for them. Where are you going to go? Oh, well, if you go there, I'll go there. So we ended up both signing at the same club, Japan second division footy.
Awesome.
Yeah, great on the body.
I can imagine.
Enjoyed contact training.
Yeah,
First time in my
yeah.
life, loved it.
How far did your Japanese come over that 10-year?
After a few drinks, fluent.
Yeah, really?
Absolutely fluent. Because you don't care. Like, you think Kiwis talking slang. Japanese, like, their slang is just their common language. And so they would laugh at us because we would come in with all this formal stuff.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, you're never going to use that. You're never going to use it. So...
Favourite piece of Japanese slang then? Do you have one? That isn't, the PG one? I don't know. Asking for a drink, something you'd use every day.
Nomi hodai arimasu ka? Is this an all-you-can-eat drink? Or is this all you can drink? So you could pay $20 and have a
is this an all-you-can-drink establishment?
Is this an all-you-can-drink establishment? And if you wanted to put some food with that, it would be tabi hodai arimasu ka?
So is this all I can eat?
All you can eat, yes.
Okay, fantastic.
And we would then just turn into, is this a hodai? Is this a hodai? So no, they got a great way of doing things. Not really designed for Westerners, that sort of thing. But when we showed up, obviously you got your value for it.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, nice. Well, we've learnt something today. I've learnt something. I'm taking that to my next trip. Cheers, Beaver. Shot for stopping by, bro. It's Not Tiddlywinks. That's another one wrapped up with Ra Pomre and John Afoa.